Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, and you are on channel Be Fabulous You. Notes on the News is the segment where I read to you headlines and my thoughts about the headlines, which may be based on just having read the headlines or maybe based on me being an expert on the subject. You never know. But let us proceed. Did anyone notice the role of Weinstein's young female assistant in his many sexual assaults? I know as a woman, when there's another woman there, somehow it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. I remember hearing about some of these sexual predators who work in teams, man and woman, in order to lure, women and young women primarily into their trap. And some of these women are just as crazy as these men. And also, when I was reading that headline, I kind of skimmed the story, but I was thinking about overseers, or, like the black people who were a part of the system, who were basically involuntarily, many of them were basically involuntarily a part of the system. If somebody says your job is to pick cotton, and if you don't pick cotton, I'm going to beat you, a lot of people pick cotton. If somebody says your job is to, make tables, and if you don't make tables, I'm going to beat you, a lot of people made tables. Some of them after they had been beaten, some of them with just the threat of being beaten. If somebody says your job is to, beat the black people and make sure they stay in line and make sure they working, a lot of people did that job, before or after having been beaten. And I'm assuming a lot of times the people who were selected to do those jobs were people that, for whatever reason, the white people in positions of greater power felt more comfortable with. So, I'm not quite sure who this person is and kind of where she stands, or where she has stood, because maybe was it the same young female assistant? Was it various young female assistants? The fact that she's sort of anonymous is kind of interesting, because, yeah, over the years she would have aged, but in many accounts, there is a young female assistant. So anyway, that's all I got on that for now, or all I can coherently pull together. Google Street View captures all South African national parks. Ooh, it's like you could visit virtually. Scientists use technology to discover hidden chamber in Egypt's Great Pyramid. So they don't know if it's like a deliberate, this is here with a deliberate purpose, or this is here because architecturally it was just easier to design it like this. And will we ever know? I love something that, causes me to ask questions and to realize how much I don't know. So preterm births are rising in the U.S. again. That's like premature births. And it signals a worrying trend as there are attack after attack after attack on the health of women and women's health. It's funny because I wasn't thinking until I read this article about the fact that children come through women. So when you attack women, you attacking everybody. Like it's not like just girl children come through women. Boy children come through women too. Algeria starts construction on high-tech border wall at Moroccan border. So, and I guess the Great Wall of China was like a great border wall. This building walls is a universal thing, perhaps. I don't know. Never really thought much about walls. I had heard of the Great Wall of China. I've never been to the Great Wall of China yet. But, Trump's whole build a wall thing, it was just kind of, a little puffy here. These North American cities have the best public transit systems. Toronto was on the list. Seattle was on the list. But I've used Toronto and New York. So New York was number 1. Toronto was like number 7 or 8. I think Montreal's was on the list. I think Philly's was on the list. I've been to Philly, but I don't know if I've ever used their public transit. Baltimore was on the list. So anyway, I love public transportation. There's a 30-person college in the California desert where students work off their tuition on a cattle ranch, and it produces Rhodes Scholars and Pulitzer Prize winners. In 2018, they're going to accept women. So all this time that they've been around, I don't know, maybe 100 years. I think I did 20. But anyway, they haven't accepted women. But I did look at the pictures, and I saw a couple of brown people. So it would be like a group of like 10 people, and there might be like one black person and one brown person. So that was interesting. I remember when I was looking into schools, there was a school, I can't remember, it was like in, not in Arizona, in Santa Fe, in New Mexico, I think, where they studied the great works. Instead of reading textbooks, they read original sources, and that looked really interesting to me. I don't think I ended up applying, but it was kind of like, it was much larger than this school. This school is only a 2-year school. People transfer their credits to other schools. I never even heard of this school, but 8,000 people on a waiting list to join this women-only co-working space and club. Here's what it's like inside. So a lot of people are interested in joining. 8,000 people on a waiting list. And these co-working spaces kind of remind me of country clubs or city clubs. I had this concept of a city club, but I never really thought about it as a co-work space. So anyway, that was an interesting little headline and article to skim. Singer asks women of color to move to the front at festival. Responds to criticism. Some people got really, really upset. But she's like, the gag is, I've been doing it. And the gag is, I'm going to continue to do it. She said when she would first do her concert, she'd say, women to the front. And she noticed that the white women marched right to the front, a lot of them. And that the black women or the brown women were a little more hesitant. And so I think it's kind of interesting because she's explicitly saying, brown women to the front. But I think the system says white men to the front in lots of ways, subtle and not so subtle, overt and covert, and so it's sort of interesting that she's being explicit with it, and some people were upset. I'm sure some people are very pleased with it. Meet 7 of the world's richest power couples who have a combined fortune of 260 billion, not million, billion. They're very wealthy. They're power couples. 7 power couples. I didn't even look at the article. I think of power couples not just in terms of financial wealth, but I think of power couples in terms of like you could be like a power couple that is really about healing the people. You could be a power couple that's really about building institutions. You could be a power couple that's really about intellectually thinking through some things. I just love the idea of couples building and working together in power. Power couples. Yes! Black life is cheap in Brazil, as police kill 4,224 people in 1 year. I think I saw a statistic and it was something like, in my head for this country, it was like, oh, okay. So basically police killed a black person a day that we heard about. 4,000. So that was like around 365. It might have been 370, but it was like in that range. 4,224 people killed in 1 year. Nobody kept statistics that I'm aware of how many black people got killed during slavery times or when we were formally and technically enslaved. Do they keep track of how many people get killed in the prison system? I wonder how many people they claim have hung themselves who have been murdered in the prison system or just in life in general. Critical Heathrow Airport security files found in the bushes. Someone was walking by and found like a thumb drive. They're like, well, I'm not going to put this random thumb drive in my computer because who knows what it is. So a couple days later, they were at the library, or maybe they made a special trip to the library, put the thumb track in, and it was like information about like how the queens, when she fly, what they do, and it was like certified, bona fide security information just thrown over. Who does that? They don't have a system of proper disposal? Ooh. Suspected Russian cyber spy, Guccifer 2.0, altered a DNC document before releasing it. My mother was just talking about this yesterday. She like, just how you know the stuff wasn't changed and altered. And I'm like, I don't know. It probably was. And then there they go. Guccifer 2.0. I guess that's his tech name, not like his like, hi, I named my child Guccifer, middle name 2.0. Guccifer is probably like the hacker name. Like Lucifer, Guccifer. I'm a loose goose. I'm a loose devil. Guccifer. Catalonia Crisis. Spain issues warrant for Puigdemont. Now, Puigdemont was the leader of Catalonia. Puigdemont and five other leaders from Catalonia have gone to Belgium, and 8 or 9 leaders were in Catalonia or in Spain, and they've been put in jail, or they caught up in the system. The people who are in Belgium are like, look, we don't trust that you're going to treat us fairly, but if Belgium says it's okay. We'll come back for trial or whatever. So it's interesting because it makes me think like, wow, like this could be sort of like something like the aftermath of the American Civil War. And dang, it was something I was thinking about that, but I got distracted. But anyway, let me just leave it alone because I can't even think right now. Brands are threatening to pull ads from NFL coverage if NBC keeps covering players' national anthem protests. Darn that NBC. It's funny how something as simple as taking a knee. I'm just going to take a knee. I'm not going to say the national anthem. It's just like blown up, and it's such a big ass deal, a big butt deal. I mean, who knew? How simple things can put a wrench in a system that seems so powerful and massive and has so much momentum, I guess that's why they say it just takes a cog in the wheel. The Defense Department is making it harder to tell what's happening in Afghanistan. They've classified some documents that were not classified previously. Texas releases disabled migrant girl Rosa Maria Hernandez. So this is the young girl, the 10-year-old girl we've been seeing all over the place. She's been released by Texas, but they don't really know what the situation is going to be. Oh, I got to sneeze. Excuse me. Hold on. Like, does she get asylum? Do her parents get asylum? They don't really know. It's like they might have just released her temporarily so that the heat could come off and then they could go on and silently do whatever they want to do. We don't know. We don't know. That's how the article made it seem to me. Colexit. It was talking about the fact that Colexit and Texit, like Texas exit and California exit, that there were a lot of Russian people involved with organizing Colexit and Texit. And that I think, somebody was saying, the main organizers weren't there. And then somewhere in the article, I think it said that at this particular rally, the main organizers weren't there because the main organizers were in Russia. And it cost about $200 to run the whole campaign. But to get from Russia to California probably would have been, $2,000, $4,000. $200 ain't nothing. Securing the vote. Could Henry Nelson, age 131, help Russia rig an election? This is someone who has probably made their transition because the recorded people that they know of are 116 as the oldest people alive. So somebody who's 131 who's on the rolls in Florida, and there are several people on the rolls in Florida who are like 118, 123 or whatever. Are those some of the people that are being activated to vote by Russia? So that's what the article seemed to be saying. But I heard somebody who said that when they were in West Africa out in the bush, you know, they went in certain communities and there were several people there who were well over 100, 125, 135, and people knew they were what their ages were, but they're just not like on the radar. And it kind of made me think, wow, you know, there's a whole world out there, just like how they say space is like what we can see and what we is, there's so much more that we can't see. Like, you know, even though like solid state physics, it used to be called solid state physics. The last I heard when I was married to a physicist, it was called condensed matter physics, because your body isn't actually solid, or things aren't actually solid, even though they feel solid. And so there's a lot more space than we realize. There's a lot that we can't, there's a lot more that we can't perceive than what we can perceive. So, you know, what if we're like, oh, we're tracking all of the people and the oldest person is 117. What if there are like all kinds of people that are not on our radar that still exist? Feds arrest former New Jersey police chief who said black people were like ISIS, made racist threats. I was surprised to see the person got arrested. In the headline, I didn't read the article. U.S. citizen arrested in Zimbabwe, accused of insulting Mugabe. I'm not really following this whole Mugabe thing, but I did read in this article that he's like one of the oldest leaders, you know, in the world. I think he like 92, 93. But the person said something. I don't even know if they said anything like straight up. And, you know, I don't know, because what I read, I was like, is that an insult? But, you know, maybe it is. But, you know, I guess it's like Allah, you know, there are some people in this country who would like to arrest people, execute people, kill people for, you know, saying not nice things about them, you know, like zero. I'm just saying, you know. And sometimes I might feel like that. You say something bad about me, kill her, off with her head. But who's going around saying bad things about me? There are some people on my I did a story time when I almost got deported from Haiti. Some people on those videos be saying some not nice things about me, but I don't know them. And some of the stuff seems sort of nonsensical. So I don't know. But I don't take it personally, because I guess I'm just like, Michaela Conlin joins Yellowstone Carnival Row cast Ariane Bakari. I think these people, there was somebody in the image who was brown. So I don't know if it was Ariane Bakari or Michaela Conlin. But this is my one. I somehow have some blog that's connected to the entertainment world. So it's interesting to me on some low level. Black woman shatters glass ceiling at New York City Fire Department. Yay. Woman takes 2 ancestry tests, gets 2 wildly different results. I thought the results were going to be like, oh, you're 67% sub-Saharan African on one, and on another one, oh, you know, you're, you know, 75% sub-Saharan African. That's not really wildly, but, or that like when my mother was in Africa, people kept telling her she looked like she was from the Sudan, but then when she took her ancestry DNA test, it didn't show up as the Sudan. So I'm like, oh, maybe if you take the test again, it'll show up as the Sudan as part of your ancestry. Maybe that's it. But no, this woman, my mother said she was a little lighter than her, so a few shades lighter than me, but and that the first test told her, ancestry DNA told her that she was 92% European and 5% Asian. And she like, that is not correct. And ancestry DNA is like, our results are correct. We stand by them. And so she did 23andMe, and they're like 68% sub-Saharan African. You know, so it's like, it wasn't even close. It wasn't like clearly, now I might be, you know, 1%, 10% European, but I ain't no 80% European. I mean, that's obvious. So anyway, Harvard student newspaper slams Sean Spicer's secret fellowship at the school. So Sean Spicer was the press secretary for Zero, and now he's gone on to get this fellowship at Harvard, which was supposed to be such a benefit to the students of Harvard. But this journalist, whatever, who did this article is like, well, if it's supposed to be such a benefit to the students, then why were all of his lectures private. It wasn't public access. How we gonna benefit from his wisdom and knowledge when we can't, when only a few people had an opportunity to be exposed to him? But this to me is a prime example of the system taking care of their own. The man got up there, lied day after day after day after day after day, and instead of being punished for being a liar, they gonna take care of him. He gonna have jobs and money and wealth, it looked like, for the rest of his life. And that seems like how the system works. Now, don't take a knee, because then they're gonna try to execute you and starve you to death. You know, don't stand up for something real, because the system is not in favor of that. But if you stand up on some bullshit and you a white man, oh yeah, we got you. So and that's all I got. Yay. Thank you so much for tuning in. The channel again is Be Fabulous You. I'm Angela, and this has been Not News. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, watching. Welcome. Welcome back. Thank you for new subscribers, old subscribers. We're working on 200 subscribers. Today is the best day ever. You are the greatest. You are number one. Remember that. And also remember to be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you.